it's important to be able to separate what I would call naturalism from a sort of, well, you could call it a lot of things, but in a way, when you move toward cartooning and modifying, simplifying anatomy, a lot of comic book art is this way, where things aren't necessarily, you know, they're getting close, but they're not there yet. So what I'm teaching here is basically mastery, where you don't want to stop at a certain point, right? You're growing, you're evolving, you're learning things, and you don't want to just stop here, you know? So there are a lot of things going on in comic art. People, of course, always evolving and learning, but you'll see things that just don't look right. And when the artist doesn't know how to fix those things, that's basically what it's all about. I'd like to mention is that if, say for example, you drew a figure, like so. This is a bare bones mannequin or a figure. And you applied, you know, your drawing techniques, your anatomy, knowledge of anatomy, bone structure, etc. on top. You know, we're drawing lines. Lines aren't really real. They don't exist in the real world. Nothing in nature has a line around it, but we're making lines, which again is something a little artificial. And we wound up with something that is most definitely a drawing, right? That's a drawing. Now the drawing is just the beginning, so at some point we'll want to probably shade the figure, have light sources coming from a certain place and having shadows look plausible, right? That's one thing. Now imagine if you had, and probably someday soon they will have this, a filter on your computer, on Photoshop, which is a photorealistic filter. Realistic. And you could put a drawing in there and it would look at it and boom, compare it to photographs and make your drawing incredibly natural, basically look like a photograph. Well, that's basically what you want to be able to do. That's to get to the top. And to get you to the top, cartooning is fine in certain settings, right? But when you want to achieve mastery and realism, then it requires more. So for example here, what we would do to make it more photorealistic, like if we could just put that filter on top of it and make it realistic, first thing, kind of erase everything. Right. And then visualize. Try to imagine seeing a real figure somewhere in a room, a gymnasium, anything, and try to draw it the way it would appear without so much exaggeration. See, I'm not exaggerating as much as I had been. Maybe pose would be less dynamic, not exaggerated. I'll move this leg a little bit. That becomes more naturalistic. This becomes more naturalistic. Bring this in a little bit, because the truth be told, when it comes to natural figures, there are a lot more verticals than you might think. A lot of verticals and not so much of these angles. The angles definitely add dynamism, but when you overdo them, you don't get naturalism. So, trying to put that photo filter on here. Now I'll try lighting it from a very coherent light source. I'll even draw the lamp here. Basically everything it will create cast shadows. Things will get darker away from it. And I'm sure you get the idea, right? So what we have here is a figure that is a good bit more realistic and plausible than what we started with. So anyway, I'll leave it there for now, and I hope you can see where this is headed, and can apply this yourself to the figures that you're drawing.